Welcome. It's Big Dave here, and today we're all about goal setting, setting goals. Right now, we're sitting in February 2026. Right about this time, your goals might not be going so good. So that's why I want to be talking about goal setting, because goal setting only lasts for as long as your stamina, your momentum allows it to. And this is why it fails so often. And I'm going to give you the secret is you take too big a chunks. Remember, mile by mile, it's going to take a while. Inch by inch, life is a cinch. Don't forget this. Let's talk today about goal setting. I have talked before about, are you living your life by design or by default? What do I mean by this? By default means you're just existing and things just happen. Now you end up somewhere and you're like, how in the hell did I get here? Versus you have worked towards one goal and achieved that goal. And now you're like, what's next? Big difference there, right? So what I want you to think about is, have you lived your life by design or by default? And if it's by default, do you want it by design? And if so, you might want to pay attention to what I got to say. Here's the deal with this. The first part you need to understand are small steps, small measurements, and the small becomes big. But you got to start small. And I can't remember one of the, what was it? Was it the Patriot maybe? I'm not sure, but it was a Mel Gibson movie. He says, aim small, miss small. Very similarly, goal setting is you want to start with these small steps. And like the end thing to say is micro stacking. Let's micro stack these things. And once you stack it and they're small, and all of a sudden something big that just happened, and you're like, all right, cool. And it's done. So whether you're a business or you individually, the whole philosophy is the same. Just personally, it's a little more emotional than even in business. Business is just plenty of emotions, but personally, it's a little more emotional is what you want to do, whether it's be lose weight, whether you want to improve on reducing your anger. Maybe you want to become more patient. Maybe you want to work out more often. Maybe you're just looking to cut down on how much alcohol you drink. Maybe you're just looking at spending more time with family and prioritizing things like family instead of work. Or maybe you're looking for a better work-life balance and it's not family. It's just some alone time for you. Maybe it's relationship things. Whatever these goals are that are important to you, they all fall within the same category of what I'm talking about. Just how you do it's a little bit different. So let's begin to live life by design, not by default. And let's show you how small steps are big breakthroughs. Let's begin right now. And I'm going to begin with a question. And this question is this: is it every single time you set a goal, you last about 3 to 6 weeks? If your answer is yes, yeah, I'm one of these accountability guys, so I'm going to say yes, you fail. But it's not so much that you fail, because failure's only permanent when you stop going forward, right? So we have all these failures, and since we're going to use some end terms, micro failures are part of it. So what I want you right now to think about is, if you're failing at your goal and you're sitting there and it's not working, no matter where it's at, it's just a temporary thing. You just drifted because life has adjusted what's happening, right? And you drifted away from your goal. Don't think this is intentional. You're not intentionally failing. There's two common things that happen in this, right? The first thing is we condition our brain as what's comfortable. And what's comfortable is what we always done. So that's the first obstacle you have to overcome. They call that habits, so that we can perform these habits. They may not even be good for us, but we're doing them because our brain thinks they're comfortable and they're safe. The second thing is we have to do a new thing over a long period of time to overcome that habit. So when you combine these two things and you understand that original habit is going to basically come after you all the time and go, I want to go back to this. I want to come back. Let me out. If you're trying to change your habit, that old habit's back there screaming, let me out. If you are trying to get a new habit in, you need to make sure that that new habit is your focus, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. So your focus has to be on that new habit and not let life drift it away, not let your brain drift it away. So I'm going to digress a little bit and talk about why most goals, and why you're listening to this, why most goals fail. And they're big goals because they start with something really big. And I'm good with starting with something big. I have no issue with that, but making it 3 years down the line. But that doesn't help you when you try to develop your short-term goal, because your brain's going to go, you're an idiot, and want to go back to that default setting and not let you stick to that goal. So big goals, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying be careful with them, because the power is within the small, not the big. So micro goals, small goals win. Journaling is powerful. Writing down your thoughts, what you're thinking, why you're thinking it, is powerful because it helps you reflect back when things are going awry or correct. And when you understand some of these things, you're going to start designing your life to be on purpose rather than accident or just cause. Most people, when you're goal setting, you're setting goals like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. You're setting goals along the lines of, I'm going to make more money. You're setting a goal somewhere along the lines of, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm going to change my life. I'm changing my life. All right. These are all wonderful ideas, all very motivational, all things that you're like, yeah, let's go. But if they don't really do anything for you, that's not where the power lies. Because remember, the power lies in your habits. Your habits build your outcome. So if you want to change things, you work on the habits to change things. I'm not knocking those goals. Don't forget, I'm not knocking them. But what I'm saying is those alone aren't enough at all. Your brain in general isn't one that's going to say, I'm going to give you this dream. No, your focus gives you the dream, because your focus allows you to keep executing no matter what in life happens. Everything in life's going to go like this, ups and downs, ups and downs. And when you're on those valleys, that focus has to carry you through. And that is what gets you to your goal. I'm going to think of it this way. When you're setting a goal, let's say lose 30 pounds, that becomes entirely emotional. Succeeding is more mechanical. I'm not saying you're not going to feel emotions. No, we're all human, right? We're going to feel. But what I'm saying is that mechanical repetition of doing it constantly is what gives you the results. You know, a lot of people who successfully lose weight, this guy included, over 100 pounds, I ate almost the same thing every day, every single day to do it. I did. So let's talk about how we take these goals that are emotional and how do we make them more mechanical, like what I'm talking about. How do I make it more non-emotional to the point to where I'm just focused on the activity that's going to give me the result? So I don't need you to get lost in any of my examples, because if you understand this very thing, then you're going to win. That it's the activity that feeds the result. It's a meaning you give something that defines the emotion, that thus gets the action, thus gets the result. I know it gets complicated, but if you understand all that, you're good to go right now. But let's go a little deeper, because some of this gets confusing. If you're going to set a goal and you go, all right, I'm going to get back in shape, great goal. But that does nothing for you, right? Your goal, you could say, is I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to get back in shape. Great goal. But how and why are you going to? First, why do you want to get back in shape? What are you missing? What's important to you? Second part is how. What are the things you have to do? The little goals, the micro stacking, those small goals. Like, I'm going to walk 30 minutes every day. Every morning, as soon as I wake up, 30-minute walk. Bar none, man, I'm doing it. 30 minutes. See, that is the start of micro stacking. So you could set something up like, hey, in 6 months, I want to lose 30 pounds. And in the first 2 weeks, I'm walking 30 minutes. In the second 2 weeks, I'm walking 40. By the end of the first month, I'm walking an hour. And then beginning of the second month, I'm walking an hour and I'm adding weights. And I'm doing these specific weights and I'm doing it for 20 minutes. I'm micro stacking these things on top of each other, and it's just growing and growing and growing, growing. And that's how the outcome becomes the outcome that you want. Something as simple as, hey, I want to read more. That's a great goal. Instead, let's begin by saying, I'm going to read 3 pages before I go to bed every single night. I'm going to read 3 pages at lunch every single day. I'm going to read 3 pages 3 times a week at lunch. All these things are starting the micro stack. And then you start to read more and it becomes a habit. The habit becomes now you enjoy reading and you want to do it during lunch before you go to bed. See the difference there in goal setting? The actions hold the power, even though the emotions in the big goal, the actions hold the power. Okay. So let's look at why this works. Why it works is the micro goals builds your momentum. The momentum builds your belief. The belief builds your action, and your action builds your results. And it gets down to this very thing. You're giving now the meaning of you doing these things. You're getting confidence in yourself. And that confidence allows you to continue each of those activities. And those activities then will get you the results. It is quite that simple, although it feels way harder than it is. Now let's talk about what happens in real life. In real life, you're doing the activity and boom, something's going to smack you in the face and you're like, crap. Go back to the activity. Your focus has to be back on the activities you said you would do and list them out. And be very as detailed as you need to be for yourself throughout at least a 90-day period as to what you want to accomplish and what you're doing. And if you're falling behind your activities and your micro stacking isn't as far as you want it, it's okay. Catch up. Right? You go back to failing is not permanent unless you give it up. Now, journaling holds a lot of power, and you writing down what you're going through. And it may not have time for a lot of details. Some other people might. You may just be a bullet point person. But what they'll do is when you go back through it, you can see what caused you to miss something or maybe why you weren't motivated. So for some of you, journaling is something you want to do, make that a habit. And that becomes a pretty cool thing overall. I used to journal a lot. I'll admit to you right now, I do not now. A lot of my things now I have in my head and I go through and I just put it down in video, or I put it down just as general goals. And I go through all of the reflective things as what I did and why I didn't do them and where they're at. I probably should journal more, but I started out very much journaling, but I really don't do a ton right now, just being 100% honest. And it's not really more of a dear diary, you won't believe what happened to me. No, it's more of all right, these are the things I did. And maybe you journal once a week and you say, I accomplished it. I did everything. Feeling good. The next week, you basically put in there, I'm frustrated. Things at work aren't going well. Skipped 2 days. And just because now you're writing that down, that you skipped 2 days, that helps you bring back the focus, because you will write down in your journal, I need to refocus. And just the power of doing that helps you focus and set new goals. And then when you start doing it, again, your mind gets the confidence going, you start seeing the results. All of a sudden, boom, the actions start ending up and pedaling on top of each other. And then now all of a sudden you have the one pedal, you're building, and you're going up that hill and starting to get closer and closer and closer to that goal until eventually you will hit it, as long as you don't give up. So the obstacles that we got to face in all this really comes down to life. And everybody has these. If you hate your job, the job hates you, whatever, however you want to look at that, you can't let that stop you, because it's always going to be there. Maybe it's a bad relationship you're in, or maybe you have someone not supporting you in any way. Maybe you have bad friends that are telling you not to. That is not an excuse to stop. You can choose to do things like separate from them or just avoid them for a little while until you get started, and it won't be such an impact. You can just choose to power through it and go, no, I'm accountable for my own actions, no matter what outside forces are coming your way. But these are all with intent. And that's the important part, is you're doing this with intent. That's the focus I talk about. So when you're doing all this and all these obstacles are happening, the one part that I think people don't spend enough time on is your why. Why is your health important? What are the things that you're doing to make sure you and what are the things you're doing to make sure that you want to be healthy? Like, for instance, maybe it's the thing that you want to spend more time with your kids, do more activities, be alive longer. Maybe it's things with friends and family that you want to do more often. Maybe it's you want to feel and look good. Could be any of that. But what do you want health to look like for you? What's your why behind it? No different than what's your why behind your income. Like, how much money you make? Why is that important to you? List it down. List your whys. That's where the power lies. If you have your why and you list it and it's your personal why, when all those obstacles come at you, like I talked about with life, and you're journaling and you're doing all the things, is you're going to have enough power to power through it. Yeah, you might be delayed. Yeah, you may have short-term failure, but you're going to power through it because your why is that strong. Typically, the why isn't very strong and we fail. Hey, we'd like to lose 30 pounds, but ain't that important. Whatever. And then when you give up on the goal, you're like, yeah, whatever. Didn't work. No, I mean, when you're driven, you have a good why. You're like, no, I'm going to lose it. There's a big difference there. All right, let's break all this down and kind of give you like a little bit of a playbook as to what and how to do this. So you may want to grab a pen and paper if you're into that, or if you maybe just type it on your phone or your computer, write this stuff down. The first thing is you want your vision, and your vision goes out and it's the big picture stuff. Maybe it's 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, and you just put out what your vision is. And that is just a really big what you want to do and why, and then where you want to be. So again, your vision is what you want to do, why, and where you want to be. Where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in 2 or 3 years? Where do you want to be in 4 or 5 years? And I don't care. You just go 3 years, that's plenty, but you can go 5 if you like. I like everything in threes overall. I've always been that way. I like 3 reasons, 3 bullet points, 3, 3, 3. Because you have more than that, it becomes confusing as to what you're working on, and then you could get lost. But I'm a big power of 3 guy. I'll go into that another time as to why. Then you break it down and say, all right, what are the habits I have to have in order to hit those goals? So in order to be there in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, what are the things I have to start doing? And list them down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you put your start dates next to it. I'm going to start walking 20 minutes, and I'm going to do that for 2 weeks. And then I'm going to go in the next 2 weeks, 30 minutes. And then after month 1, I'm going to be adding weights as an example. So you just break it down and you go all the way out to that, like, I'd say 6 months. All right. And then at that 6 months, you wait till you get to 4 to 5 months and now do another one. Why do I say this? Because when you start doing new habits, things change and your goals change and what you want to do changes. So I would just do your actions in 6 to 7 month categories. You could do less, 3's okay. And then just keep building them, but have your 1 year and 3 year missions, or up to 5, listed out. Like, where do I want to be in a year? If it's a weight loss thing, maybe I want to be down 50. If it's a money thing, maybe I want to be up $50,000 in what I made over the previous year. It's whatever that is. And then it's the hows. What are the actions you're going to take? Now, if you're not getting there, there's 2 things that could be happening, maybe 3, but most likely 2. So I'll just cover these. The first one is you're actually not doing the things you said you would consistently. The second thing is they're the wrong things. So fix that. Either one of them, you fix it. All right. Now, it's really important that you list these out and put the due dates or the start dates out there, right? This is the date I'm starting this. This is the date the next thing happens. If you're in business, this is the date this part has to be complete by. And you list them out, and you do that in 3, 6 month, and then 9 and 12 month segments. I like 6 because then you can keep moving. But sometimes when you do an annual plan in business, you got to do all 12 months. And list out all the activities, but just make it more fluid because you're going to learn a lot as you go through it. Then you review it every week. Every Monday, every Friday, whatever it is, you review where you're at. And it can be a review as quick as 3 minutes. Look at it. Did I do these? Yes. Check. Did I do these? No. Missed 2 days. Boom. Right? You review them. And then the next piece is I reset. If I didn't do everything, why not make sure you do? If I did do everything, do I want to add? And then you reset it. And the reset could be as much as 2 weeks, a month. In some cases, maybe you're feeling really good. It could be a week. But don't let a reset go past a month. All right? You should be resetting every month because you will change as your habits change. So you do want to make sure that you continue on pursuit of that ultimate goal. I like to crush goals the best I can, so I'm always in pursuit of doing that. The other part, too, that I can help you guys with here on this is when you're doing goals and you're running into troubles, really practice a lot of I am statements, like I am disciplined. I am an achiever. I am consistent. I am going to be able to hit my goals. And don't let the world come in and start taking that away from you because it wants to. And you just have to stay focused on you and what you're doing. So you're going to go through a journey. We talked about all this. All this is going, let's say, swimmingly well. You have your why defined. You have your micro habits laid out as to what you're going to be adding to your life and what you're going to be taking away. And now all of a sudden something happens. And what'll happen a lot of times with this is that something could be anything. It could be catastrophic. It could be terrible. It could be so many different things that people hit in emotion. And then you fall off and then your emotions go, I suck. And then you're like, oh, and then you quit. Remember, it's the only possible way you fail is if you stop doing it and quit. You ain't gotta quit. Ever. Don't. What you have to do, recalibrate, relook at what's going on in your life. If you have to make adjustments downward to make it easier, do it. But don't stop doing. If you want to make adjustments upwards to make it harder because you need the distraction, do that. But don't let the distraction stop your focus, because your focus, if you miss a week, hey, who cares? Get back in the game. Don't sit there and beat yourself up and all of a sudden go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because all that's going to do is bring more negativity from the world into you, and you're going to be just more negative. No, go, oh crap, messed up, let's go. What's next? And it's as easy as that. But the outside world and your mind, remember, are going to fight you on this for a while. So you have to make sure you remember to stay disciplined and focused, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. So whatever that goal is that's frustrating you right now, whatever that goal is, you're sitting here going, I need to do better. Take those notes, apply what you have learned here, and trust. If you got the right why, you got to hit it. Come on. All right. Talk to y'all next time.